Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to all of you.
Good midnight. It's midnight somewhere.
Yes, it will be. This has been quite a while since we did our last one.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not as if we haven't been reading. It's just been a while since we had time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm preparing for a trip, and it was a lot of recording to do, and I had other jobs, so it's been a while since we had time to get together and film one of these.
Yeah, matter of fact, probably next time will probably be 2 months from now, because you're probably not going to have any time to read during your trip.
Let's see how much I sleep. I may give up sleep for a little bit of reading, you know? Who needs to sleep? Yeah, not me. Not me. I don't need to sleep. That was a lie. I did, in fact, need to sleep. I needed to sleep a fucking lot. I got no reading done while I was in Greece. None at all. I've read a ton since I got back, so you will be seeing more of these. But yeah, no. Sleep. Sleep is good.
You want to start off first?
I picked this up. So, actually, I think I originally read the first chapter of this a while back, but I just picked up the manga because it released in English.
Oh.
But this is the Elden Ring manga, Volume 1, the Road to Erd-Tree. And this is great. If you like Elden Ring, this is great. If you like... this almost feels a little bit like Konosuba. It's like a darker version of Konosuba.
Oh my.
I know sometimes I yell at you for comparing everything to Konosuba, but like... This feels like Konosuba. I mean, he literally starts this book naked. He has no equipment. He starts naked. Right? My man starts naked.
Oh my.
Because he doesn't have equipment. He's a level 1 noob. He's got undies, and that's it. And then he gets a sword. So he walks around in undies and a sword. It's great. It's basically... It feels very much like something like Konosuba or Sword Art Online, just set in the world of Elden Ring, with a lot of the Elden Ring characters, which makes it really fun.
Yeah. There's no way you're going lighthearted of Elden Ring.
You know, but it has lighthearted elements, you know? Like, there's this part where someone offers him, like, secondhand clothing, and he's like, the thing is... I'm kind of a germaphobe, so I cannot wear used clothes. I will continue to be naked. Which is fucking hilarious. Like, why? Why would you ever? The art style is also pretty interesting. It's almost like hyper-realistic compared to most manga. And makes a lot of use of, like, shadowing and depth. So it doesn't feel... like it's a simplified version of Elden Ring. This feels like the visuals you would see in Elden Ring, just in black and white.
Does it have the witch in there? The one that calls you maidenless?
Maybe in a different volume. But I don't remember seeing it in this volume. Yeah. So I'm very excited for Volume 2 to come out, because this is fucking hilarious.
For me, I actually, I don't remember if I talked about this, but it was anime that did come out. It's Isekai Nobu...
No, that's Isekai Nonbiri Noka.
Yeah, Isekai Nonbiri Noka.
Yeah, which I've also read and seen.
Yeah. Quite nice story. Love it. It is slow, though. It is a very slow thing.
It's almost Iyashikei.
Yeah, it really is.
Which I like.
But it's also... hidden tiger, crouching lion kind of thing, so yeah.
hidden dumbass, crouching, competent. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good series. I saw the anime when it came out, so...
The anime does do its own little thing toward the end, but still quite nice, so yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Have you read through all the current chapters, or are you still
everything
caught up with everything? Yeah. I feel that.
It toward like the later chapters right there, it just has that such nice of like he does no clue, but it's so much funny what's going wrong.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
I guess I actually want to bring up something next that I recently reread, right? And this is not a new read for me. I've reread this entire series maybe 10 or 12 times since I first found it. It's not available in paper. It was never officially published in English, so you do have to find it online, scanlation style. But it's called One Half Prince, or One Half Wang Zi. I think it's Taiwanese, but it might be just Chinese. It's one of the two, and it's a manga, and it's pretty old. I don't think it predates Sword Art Online, but it's very similar to Sword Art Online. So you've got that kind of put on the gaming headset, enter the MMO world. Except for the most part in One Half Prince, she does get to take the headset off. Like she can take the headset off, take herself out of the game. So you do get some like real world interactions and then the in-game interactions. And I really like that the whole premise of the story is that her brother is like, you wouldn't even be able to play games if you didn't use like the female hack to like get players to give you stuff. And so she's like, wanna bet? And then decides to play as a man in game to prove to her brother that she can like play games without getting like the woman give everything to them sort of thing, which seems to be a pretty common trope in Chinese stuff about online gaming, like the idea that you like pretend to be like a really sweet and demure girl who needs help, and then men kind of crowd around you and give you equipment and help you through quests.
It's a thought lifestyle right there. So
But One Half Prince, stunning. I think it's also it's completed. It's been completed for a while. I think it's less than 200 chapters.
Ooh, that's actually pretty short.
It's pretty short, and honestly, it has like a really heartwarming ending. I've actually read some fan fiction about it too that was really good.
I just realized we called like 200 chapters pretty goddamn short.
Well, manga chapters aren't that long. You think normally a manga chapter is anything from like 8 to 20 pages, so it's not that bad. And to be honest, when you think that most manga volumes have approximately 6 to 10 chapters, depending on the volume, let's say it's 10 chapters a volume, you're only looking at what, like...
Let's see.
20 volumes?
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, that's not
no, because you're thinking, So if you're saying 10 chapters to a book, like One Piece sometimes has 10 chapters to a book, slightly shorter chapters, it'd be about 20 volumes. If it's like 5 to a book, it'd be like 40, but I don't think it's that breakdown.
No,
I'm actually thinking it might be less than 100.
Yeah, it'll be like if it's 5 right there, it'll be pretty thin. 10 is.
Okay.
A little bit smaller than a novel, I think.
Okay, so there were only 9 novels originally published in total from 2004 to 2005.
Okay.
So no, it's very short. In fact, I think it might be under 100 chapters. It might be around like 75 chapters. 74, 75 chapters.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Yeah. It's Taiwanese. Yep.
Okay.
And it didn't really get super popular outside of Taiwan, but I found it and it was just really, really good. Like the art, the story, the characters. I love it.
What time period did it come out?
I said 2004 to 2005.
And
it was like just one short single run, October 2004 to August 2005. Came out as paperback prints, but never got
really big. Okay.
Yeah. It looks like the novels were reprinted in 2012 with redone artwork after that. And at one point, so the manhwa, because that's what it is. The manhwa was serialized in a youth comic but never officially published.
Okay.
Which is why you have to find scanlations of it.
Yeah. My second one is very much tied with my very first one right there, because it's quite literally almost the exact same thing. Yeah, it's buy the land and cultivate in a different... Wait, no, that's the wrong one. God damn it.
So many isekais. So many long isekai titles. Too many, one could say.
God damn it. Let me just double check which one.
I have the same problem when I'm trying to remember if I've read if I've read some of these works before when I find them again, because with scanlations, often titles can be off by like a word or two, or they're slightly different, or like the translation of the title can like vary, right, between translators. So sometimes I'll see like, I was raised by the villain is raising me, raised by villain, and stuff like that. And it's all the same work, but I don't remember the exact title. So when I go back and it gets recommended to me again a couple months later, after I finish reading up to the current title, and I start reading it again, and I get like a chapter in, and I'm like, ooh, I know this. Are there any recent chapters that I need to check for? Because if there aren't, then, I'm not going to reread an entire like series that I've read before, especially with the transmigration novels, which, by the way, I've noticed coming into kind of the common lexicon, but the like reborn into the those kind of like the fantasy high high society worlds, those more and more are referred to as transmigration novels, because you're just being moved to a different world and reborn, rather than associating them with a lot of the Japanese isekais, because the transmigration novels are often Korean and Chinese primarily, and they don't have the same elements that isekai often does. Because typically with isekai you'll get like powers, and then isekai is usually Japanese and it's more of an adventure setting. So transmigration going forward will be the term I try to use for those more high society, like noble romance and villainess stories and stuff.
So, I was wrong. I did get the correct title.
Yeah? You just didn't remember that it was the correct title?
No, it looked like very similar to something else I was reading in terms of the picture, and then I realized, oh wait, no, those are the characters. This is the reason why you need to look at the pictures when you read the novels right there. So yeah, especially if they're web novels.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
It's exactly the same as like my first submission right there, where it's a whole lot of just funny things happening in the background while the main character is just laxing around doing his own stuff and becoming the most powerful person in the world.
No, that's valid. Why would a farmer not be the most powerful person in the world? Totally valid logic. 10 out of 10. Stunning. We love them. We absolutely love them.
Yeah.
So my next one is, can I express, like, how thick this first volume is?
Dang.
Like, this... So this is volume 1 of Who Made Me a Princess, right? Volume 2 is arriving soon. But this is a thick-ass webcomic. Like, holy fuck, are there a lot of pages.
And it's all colored.
Oh, yeah. All of my webcomics are. But, like, this is almost, like, 300 pages. Like, this is a thick webcomic. You are getting bang for your buck, because this does not cost any different than Abandoned Empress, which is half the size.
How much did it cost you?
$19, $20. I get the pre-order price when I order on Amazon, so they knock a little bit off if you order enough in advance, and then they guarantee the price, so even if the price goes up, I get the original price I paid.
That's nice.
This one I read a while back. It's Korean. Basically, she's kind of reborn as the daughter of this kind of villainous tyrant king, and she's like, I'm going to die. Like, the idea of her storyline is that she is supposed to die before she hits like 13, 14. Like, her father will kill her.
Yeah.
Because her sister, right, like another girl who's the daughter of her father, comes in, and her father loves this other girl more than her, and she's just a spoiled, not even really a villainess character, just unfortunate enough to die.
Oof.
Before the beginning of the like typical novel even really began. So basically, and when I say like reborn as a baby, I mean this bitch is reborn as a fucking like infant and is sitting there with an adult mind having to live through infancy again.
We've read a couple like that, and that is...
Because they always have that problem of like, how smart do I be? Mm-hmm. Like, because if I say something too smart, then I'm a genius, but I'm not actually. And if I'm too dumb, then I'm too dumb. And I don't want the other people to be suspicious of me. which is fucking hilarious because never in any of these volumes have I ever seen one of the characters claim like, oh, you're from another world because you know so much. No, they're just like, oh, my child is a genius. So, you know, I feel like y'all don't need to be as worried as you are. But yeah, so it's another transmigration. But I mean, like, hold this. This is a thick book. I get kudos to Seven Seas Publishing.
Oh, yeah, no, love them. Yep. Yeah, really good.
A lot of the other transmigration stuff is coming out from IZE Press and Yen Press. And what I've noticed with IZE and Yen Press is the volumes are much smaller. They're all full color, like all three of these that I have. I'm gesturing to a pile beside me, but I have Remarried Empress, Villains Are Destined to Die, and The Abandoned Empress as well. And those are much smaller volumes, so it was kind of nice to get a book this big to read comparatively. And I really hope that the size keeps up across the series.
Yeah, it seems more like a normal, like a light novel volume.
Right,
Yeah.
like it really does. To be fair, though, I actually don't know if Who Made Me a Princess was originally a novel. This might have been originally a webtoon. Which could explain it, because I know that sometimes with the novels getting turned into webtoons and then published into paper, you have to take into consideration like season, like how long the season was, how long the arc took, and then sometimes the problem of like how fast is the art being done. Like the artist that's working on Remarried Empress was having health problems, and so they had to end the second season early, and they took a really long break before the third season, which I'm currently caught up with. So there's more going into it. It depends. So
yeah,
looking forward to more though.
Let's see. I'm going to go and be talking about a little bit more of a crap one that I actually read.
Oh, you read something shitty?
It's not shitty per se, but it's more of yeah.
Okay.
So not meh. There we go.
Okay.
My name is Hanseng Quinn. Right there. It's another Crouching Tiger, Hidden Line kind of thing, and it's like, if I remember correctly, it's Chinese. So you do get a little bit more of that kind of dynamic right there in terms of like family dynamics.
Yeah. Is it wuxia, or is it like high society transmigration, or is it more stereotypical isekai?
There's no isekai,
it's nothing.
So yeah.
Okay, just a novel. All right.
Yeah.
That's rare with us. It's very rare.
Yeah. It's just a very bland, like basic kind of Crouching Tiger kind of novel. So it's like, it's nice if you want to see like somebody just go, haha, I'm really this powerful now, but eventually that kind of just wears off and becomes boring. So yeah.
You know what? Speaking on that note, I did have a meh book I read recently. So I had gotten advertisements for this on TikTok actually, because it is being officially published on one of the webcomic apps, but not one of the ones that I have a free subscription to, so I have to go and pirate it, of course. But it's called Ashtarte.
Oh yeah,
black hair, and she's got the sister with the white hair. So I had started reading it before a while back, but there was only a chapter or two out, and it was fine for a chapter or two. The problem is, it's at like 30 something chapters now. And the scene that gets advertised from it, right? Like that scene in the church where they're getting the blessing. I'm 30 chapters in, and that has not happened yet. We have not gotten there. Like, I have yet to see that scene. And I gotta be honest, so far, over half the chapters have just been the same thing over and over and over again. Like, and they haven't really explained the conflict of the story well. And we haven't even met all of the main characters yet. Like, we literally in chapter 30 just got an introduction of like a new male main character.
Wow.
Or will be a male main character. And it's almost like, it almost has a vibe like Villains Are Destined to Die, where everyone hates her, but then occasionally you see glimpses of something that make you think that maybe she's wrong and they don't hate her, but something else is happening. But it's moving so fucking slow. And the art is beautiful. It's just not super interesting because it's taking so long to get to anything interesting.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: Remarried Empress did that same thing, where the scene that gets advertised, right, on all the advertisements, is her divorcing her husband. However, that doesn't happen until like episode 70 of the webtoon. But you've already met all the main characters. There's a bunch of intrigue all going on already, and it's an interesting story. Even like the divorce is the end of an arc, not the beginning. Whereas the Astarte, like, that blessing bit should be kind of the beginning of something more, but yet we haven't gotten to it yet. And so it's a very frustrating read. I did not enjoy it so far, and I'm caught up with all the chapters available for pirating, and I can't really afford to go buy chapters week by week. So I guess maybe we'll see if I come back to it in a couple of months when there's more published, but for now it was underwhelming.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like what I did with Domestic Conja when, like, Nick Nack said, "It's good. Read the manga. It's good." And it's like, okay, fine, bet. And I
still don't
read
believe him.
it.
I still don't believe him.
I read it and I gave him, like, at that point, like, what it was. It's that first half, absolutely crap except for the side characters. Then, like, second half, it started to kind of get good.
Yeah.
And then I kind of, like, stopped it after we reached to the prison scene with the, whatever older sister's fiance killer thingy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And supposedly after that, it went into trash again. So, yeah!
Love that. Absolutely love that.
Let me find my third novel.
And here's the thing. Astarte is not the only transmigration novel I haven't liked. Like, Nick Nack likes to joke sometimes that I like all of the transmigration and isekais. I don't. There's a fair few that I tried, read a couple chapters of, and then just couldn't get into. And there's just certain things I'm not a fan of. Like, I don't typically read the ones that are, like, super... There's selections I don't read. Like, there is stuff I don't read.
Oh, yeah, no, I've read some which are kind of bland, and some were just absolutely crap. So, yeah. So, for my third one, I have a quite long title. Expelled from a black magic item craftsman guild, I was picked up as a royal magician, but it was too late, and I realized I was actually the highest level magician in the kingdom, starting a new life. It's starting a happy life anew with those who acknowledge me in the royal capital. It is a, well, as you can hear from the title, it's pretty much exactly that. And it's so nice and fluffy, in certain parts. And then, like, there's the, like, background stuff happening right there, which gives you that nice, like, ah, yes, revenge. And it's like, oh, it's such a nice thing to read.
You know what that sounds like? It sounds exactly like something I recently read. And I don't know if you've heard of this, but I recently read My S-Rank Party Fired Me for Being a Cursed Artificer. I can only make cursed items, but they're artifact class.
Oh, I've been meaning to read that. Oh.
It's really good. Highly recommend it. It sounds exactly like what you're describing. You've got that hint of sweet, sweet revenge in the background, but also this absolute moron who has no knowledge of their value or worth. Also, he has the most terrible fashion sense. Very good.
Yeah, mine was actually a woman. So yeah, as my main character. So yeah, that was nice. Yeah. Let's see.
So I did recently read another transmigration called The Duchess's Lo-Fi Coffee House.
Oh.
It doesn't have many chapters out so far, only 20 that I could find translated. But I am really enjoying it. So it is a transmigration. She's reborn into the body of this woman who kind of gets sold off to be the Duchess, right? But I think my favorite part about it is that her husband basically tells her, stay quiet, stay out of my way, don't do anything. And she's just like, yes.
Yeah, that's probably one of the better ways to go.
She's like, I am going to stay out of your way. I am going to be quiet, and I am going to just enjoy my life in the lap of luxury that I could not when I was living, in Korea. And it's so funny because I guess she was a coffee barista when she was living in Korea. And so she goes to the magic tower, and her husband's all suspicious. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? But she gets the magician at the magic tower hooked on caffeine in order to make him make her all of the supplies for coffee making. So she gets him addicted to caffeine by telling him that it's a energy stimulant, natural one, so that he'll make like an espresso machine and all sorts of stuff for her using magic. And then just proceeds to make coffee for everyone.
She wasn't wrong.
But that's all she does. Like, her husband comes around and he's like, aren't you sad on your own? Like, aren't you suffering from being like locked up in here? And she's just like, nah. Nah. You want some coffee? I'm gonna go read a book. Do you have some coffee? I'm gonna go read a book. I love it. I love it.
I remember, I don't know, actually, would the 86 video be out by now, but I did say that I was going to read more of 86, and I have gotten volume 4 and actually have read it. Now I just need to continue the rest. Yes, I know, I have to go buy the rest.
I was going to say, did you not want to borrow the novels from me? Because these are the novels.
Nah, I like to read it on my own time.
Okay.
On my, phone.
Well, I'm certainly not reading them.
I mean, it's supposedly going to get a lot more interesting, and, I want to know the interesting bits.
That's fair. That's very fair.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they really do offer a far more dynamic into the 86 in Volume 4, which I very much do like. And supposedly in the new one, they're going to do even more of that, so yeah.
That sounds good. I'm still reading, so all the stuff I've mentioned on Manta before, I'm still reading, right? So I'm still keeping up with a bunch of those series. I haven't dropped any of them. I've added a few new ones. I guess the only other thing I'm currently reading, actively right now, is The Archduke's Gorgeous Wedding Was a Fraud. Which I'm really enjoying because, basically, this dude is apparently so pretty and sun energy, right? Like, this boy is such a pretty sun energy that women are obsessed with him, and they stalk him and steal his hair and steal his underwear and all sorts of weird shit. And this girl shows up, and she's just kind of like, I don't give a shit, because she's got really strong moon energy or whatever. And so he's like, will you marry me to keep the other women away from me? And she's like, I don't know. And he's like, I will pay you $10 billion. And she's like, yes, customer. What would you like me to do, customer? And literally immediately there's assassination attempts on her life, and she's like, this is worth $10 billion. I can endure so many death attempts. I have seen her almost be assassinated 7 times now, and I'm on chapter 10.
My my.
Yeah.
You actually do find a lot of that moon and sun energy stuff, and usually a lot more of the Chinese novels. Because it's more kind of like cultivation, but also it's to show the opposites right there of attractions. Because women are supposed to more have moon energy, or be a little bit more colder.
Yeah. It's
and,
the yin and yang energies.
Quite literally.
Yeah. Was it women are yin and men are yang?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that is.
I think that's it, because that sounds right to me. But yeah, because that comes up in a lot of those wuxia cultivation novels. Which, speaking of, I think I might have to finally give in and try to reread Modao Tsushi. Because I started it a while back, way before it was Book Talk famous and popular for being gay and super explicit.
Oh, that one that you showed me.
The 3, because there's 3 series. It's Modao Tsushi and 2 others. The Scum Villains Self-Saving System, and I forget the name of the 3rd one, but I started reading them way back before they got, and this is not to say a brag or something, but when I started reading them, there was only 1 or 2 chapters out. And so I read the 1 or 2 chapters, but I wasn't super hooked, and I was looking for longer stuff at the time. So I could just kind of put them down, and then went about my life reading other stuff. And then they kind of got much longer, and then they blew up on Book Talk for being super gay. And then I kind of avoided them for a while because I was kind of like, oh, I don't know. Do I really want to? But yeah, I guess I need to get back into them now and kind of finish them, read them, that sort of thing. Especially since I'm starting my own little collection of like gay, gay manga and webcomics all over the place.
You want to know a funny story about that?
What?
I've also read it. Not that far, though, because I did read it early. But it was so weird, and it was like, when the fuck is the action going to happen? And then I slowly realized, oh, it's not that kind of action thingy.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. Sometimes I see titles of things, and I'm like, Vorn would like this, and then I read it, and I'm like, this is yaoi. Like, for example, I've got this book up here. I talked about it before. The Other Worlds books depend on the bean counter, right? That totally sounds like something you'd be into.
Oh yeah.
Isekai, rebirth, accounting, economics. It's so fucking gay. There is explicit sex in the first book because the only way he can survive is to get fucked.
Oh yeah.
Like, you, it's not your thing, but it's very much your thing in, like, the weirdest of ways.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Everything but the gay sex is right. Gotta love that.
Anyway, last thing I actually read, Parallel World Pharmacy.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so, isekai for sure.
Yep.
So, yeah. It is very much into the pharmaceutical and, like, medical side. You don't need to have the knowledge, but it kind of helps right there. If there has been anime of this, so yeah.
I'm just trying to... Okay, I'm just making sure that it's the same as the one I watched.
Yeah.
And read.
It pretty much is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the anime didn't do it that good.
No, the anime... Oh, the anime was the worst. I watched like 7 episodes and I was bored out of my fucking skull.
Mm-hmm.
It is in the very... It is what I would categorize as one of the very worst isekai adaptations I've ever seen. Because it is just boring.
Yeah, I will definitely say, you read it, it's
better.
It is a little slow. But, like, you have,
better.
like, a whole lot other things going for it. So
it's kind of like the opposite of Isekai Izakaya Nobu, where the manga is, like, a little short, and it's, like, because of it, it's a little bit harder to get through, it's a little bit more boring, but the anime is really, really interesting because of what they add to the anime episodes.
Yeah, because they really do add, like, a lot more of the intrigue. So, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I've read Parallel World Pharmacy, and reading it's definitely a better experience than watching it.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
The action scenes, though, they're still pretty nice right there. I will say that.
Yeah,
So,
it's a relatively new anime too. It came out just recently.
Like
just a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, I think last year, was it?
Let's see, literally July to September 2022.
Okay.
Yeah, I was watching it as it came out. It was decent. It was definitely decent, but I would not rewatch it, and I did not finish it.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it for me. Although I will say this, I do find myself, like, getting stubbornly into a book, getting busy, totally forgetting about it, and finding another book to read. And I really need to start going back and finding those books that I've just forgotten about.
Yeah, I need to start keeping a list of all the transmigrations and isekais I've read, because I feel like I keep seeing them either pop up as animes coming out, or someone's like, oh, I read this one isekai, I'm sure you've not heard of it, and I'm like, oh god. No, I've heard of it, I read it. But part of it's the problem with, like, the titles for me, is because I'm reading a lot of it as scanlations, titles are never the same.
Yeah, they really aren't.
It makes it harder to keep track of what I have and what I haven't read. And especially when, like, you're trying to describe it to someone and you're like, a villainess is reborn, and they're like, so which one of the 700 of these are we talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mostly just because, like, translators, like, on their own site, it's, like, maybe just one of the things right there that they're translating. But, like, look on their net, there's a shit ton more. And it's so hard to just find the ones
my
you're
god,
looking for.
the worst is when, like, and I don't blame scanlations for this necessarily, but sometimes one particular group stops scanlating a series, and, you know, you're reading it, and then all of a sudden, it switches to like someone who has seen that it hasn't been updated in, too long in their opinion. Sometimes they even snipe it from the actual scanlators because they're so bored. And they will like Google Translate through like the chapter. I was reading the Monstrous Duchess's Contract Daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that one?
Not really.
I think that's some combination of that is the correct name. It's like the Contract Daughter, Monstrous Duchess. But I got to chapter like 70, right? And it has like over 100 chapters at this point. I got to chapter 70. Everything was going great. Super enjoying the story. Somebody sniped it from the actual Scanlation group who was doing it and started doing like this Google Translate thing, and they pissed off the Scanlation group, so the Scanlation group dropped it, and the next 20 chapters were literally I could not understand what was going on. Because like the pronouns weren't even in the right order. Like you couldn't even tell who was talking to who at all, and I just had to drop it. And so I've never gone back to it, even though it has like 180 chapters now. And I was really enjoying it up to that point.
Yeah, no, I find that with novels as well, except like what I find is that since it's a novel, usually they'll continue actually translating it. Because I
also don't go to each Scanlation group's websites.
Yeah.
Because
sometimes
there's so many of them, and it's hard to keep track of who's doing what, and it's not always posted, and it's just a lot of effort.
Yeah.
I know I should, but I just don't.
If I remember correctly, there is like for manga, there is some kind of like a wikia right there you can use that helps you out, but like that gets updated by the groups themselves, so it's a bit hard to like tell right there, like, oh, this is this. So yeah. Not like novel update where it's like a little bit more... People look at that far more, I feel. So that's far more updated by their groups. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's here and there, and it's hard to keep track of what you're reading sometimes. But yeah.
Yeah. I remember reading stuff off like MTL, like novels.com, because like I wanted to know more, and it's like, it hasn't been officially translated, so I'm going Google route, and it's like,
and
after a while.
Here's the thing, this is one of the few reasons why I am a little bit more militant about purchasing like the paper and English releases of these kind of webtoons and manhwas that I'm reading, and even some of the web novels. Like I'm buying the Solo Leveling web novel volume by volume, and it's because I do want to support and encourage the translation of these works into English, and then the selling of them in an English market, whether that be through Amazon or Barnes & Nobles or Half Price Books or any other bookstore that gets a hold of them. I want these things to be published into English with good translations.
Yeah.
And I want that to happen because I want to have more access to these things. So.
Yeah, no, I understand that as well. It's like, it's such a great thing that we can actually have these translated for us officially, because that also means like there's money going to the author, but also it's like making sure there's a continuous stream of these translated novels for us. Like maybe we might not like them, but like, and there's a stream.
Consumer base responds to like kind of demand. So if companies see that there is a base for buying these works in the English market, then they feel emboldened to bring more works in the hopes that, like for example, Ise and Yen Press have just announced like 7 new series being brought out in like November and October. I mean, Dangerous Convenience Store is getting an English publication. Ennead is getting a paper English publication. I've got pre-orders out on Stepmother's Marchin and Not So Wicked Stepmother and a couple other things like first volumes. I think I'm getting volume 1 through 3 all at once of My First Night with the Duke. Which is just like the first 3 volumes are being published all at the same time into English, and then they'll do the rest. Yeah. So, I mean, I really want to show that there is a market for these, right?
Yeah.
And I know pirating is terrible, but in some ways, pirating does prove that there's a market for it, because if people are scanlating these chapters and into English, then people can see that sure it's being pirated and no one's really making any money off of it, but there's a demand for it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will buy a paper or Kindle or Nook copy if it's easier than dealing with ads and stuff. Holy shit. I've been on one of those pirating sites. I had over 200 pop-up tabs when I closed it. And I had to just sit there closing through pop-up porn tabs.
Yep, pretty much.
Oh, it was awful.
That's actually kind of like the Mr. Beast story with, like, because in China, since there's no YouTube there, they were taking Mr. Beast stuff and actually translating it into Chinese, and he found out about it, and what he did, instead of actually saying, no, don't do it, he actually said, keep on doing it, I'm going to hire you, and I'm going to pay you to do this, and, it shows you that, it's an actual good thing to do, and it's like,
Yep.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Mm-hmm. It makes a lot of sense.
Although there are some companies don't want to do it.
Yeah. So it's definitely kind of a give and a take.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to support a lot of these authors, and so I do that in the ways that I can do that. That's why I like Manta's subscription so much. Like, Manta might not have all of the things that I read, and I might not go on Manta every day throughout the month, but I am perfectly content to pay $2.99 a month to get free access to everything in the Manta catalog at all times.
Yeah.
Which includes oncoming works and works, you know, sometimes works leave, sometimes you get new works, and perfectly content at that. That is great for me. And that way I can read all the chapters available of something published into English. The authors will get something out of it. Like, it works out for everyone. And if those things come to a paper market, I will also buy them in paper if I enjoy them.
Yeah, because Manta, since it's online, more you're looking at volume right there, while books, they're more paper, you actually have manufacturing costs that you actually have to worry about. They will be far more expensive right there.
Yep.
So they're going to be maybe more special runs, possibly.
And
so,
web novels and web comics take up different amounts of space. Like, I'm at volume 8 in the Solo Leveling web novel, and I believe in the web novel there are only 12 volumes, including the side stories. But I'm at volume 6 in the web comic, and I think it's covering stuff that happened in volume 3 of the novel. It's moving a lot slower in terms of total space taken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's it for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, thank you for coming to watch. We will be back, well...
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah. You might not notice too much of a gap at all.
Yes, but thank you for putting up with us right there and waiting so long for those who actually do watch this. So, if you actually have anything you want us to read, especially Sekhie here, she is going out on a vacation, and she might want something to read during her weekends.
Or I could, be social and go out and do things like a human. Nah.
Put in comments if you want us to read it. But thank you very much for watching this video. Like, subscribe, try harder, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.